Okay, it is already recording, so hi.
Hi.
So, do we make an official presentation? No. No, we're crazy enough to start like that.
Just start talking.
Just start talking. So, hi. Here we are with Deb again, the owner of the... What was the name
Prius
of
limo camper mobile.
There you go. Hi there. Here we are in Minneapolis with Deb, who had her first trip. Woo! In the...
Prius limo camper mobile.
There you go. So you finally started your nomad life.
Indeed. So it was actually a 30-day leave of absence.
Sorry, there are planes flying over us. But what is the name of this park?
Brackett Park.
Brackett Park in Minneapolis. Look at the beautiful structure behind us.
It's beautiful.
Very matchy with the fall.
Yeah.
So
So
you took a leave of absence.
just to give myself more practice than you can get with long weekends going camping. So that was mid-September to mid-October, and recently returned, and didn't go at all like I planned, which of course is to be expected with this nomad life. You can make all the plans you want, but
There you go.
life's gonna happen.
Life is going to happen. I like that. Life is going to happen. Yeah. So, and I guess it is our choice
How you respond.
to respond to that properly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we were talking about this video about your test, you testing the waters, and we talked about how people have this concept about nomadic life as something very glamorous, something that is so Instagram, which is okay. I mean, of course, you see beautiful places,
Right.
and you can take amazing photos, perfect. But the life of a nomad,
Full-time.
a full-time
nomad.
nomad, correct, may not be as easy
No.
after all.
No.
So,
And those folks can go back to their sticks and bricks in probably a studio and do all the editing to make those photos and videos even more beautiful.
that's true. That's true. Thank you. Now I feel better about my horrible videos.
Which are not horrible.
Well, kind of. So,
Whatever.
accidents happen. So, but yes, the idea is to discuss a little bit the concept of a nomadic life. I just made a video that is going to come after this one about living a simple life that allows you to get in contact with nature and probably with yourself.
Yes. Yes.
So, have you had time to feel that? What were your first impressions? We were talking about this and we said, let's call this video the joys and tribulations
Yes.
of the road.
Perfect characterization. I didn't get as much experience with that extended as I wanted to, because I drove south for 3 or 4 days and found public land to camp on near Santa Fe for 3 or 4 days. And then got the word that my mom, her health had taken another jog south and I needed to go. So that's what I did, and spent the next 2 weeks of the leave helping my dad take care of my mom, which was fine. I'm glad I had that opportunity. Oh my
And
gosh.
it was amazing that
The timing, yeah.
I know, because you were totally free
Yeah,
help them.
exactly. So it did give me a chance to see a lot more of the country than I might have done. I put on 5,000 miles in 30
What?
days. I know. Because I basically went up to Portland, Oregon, and then back over to Minnesota. So down over a bit. And then getting back to Minnesota from Portland. So that's basically the 30 days, which officially ends today, actually.
So are you going to continue with your leave of absence?
No, I've decided to stop working to continue to help my dad take care of my mom. And I have no idea what my life will be like from today. And I love that. I just love that. So back to the whole nature thing. I was in the desert in New Mexico, and that was something
So
to
you
get
did
used
get
to.
to New Mexico.
Yep.
Okay.
Near the Santa Fe area. And I got up into the mountains near Santa Fe because I wanted to get away from the heat.
Yep.
And that worked really well. And I found my own spot like a big girl. And it worked out really well. Really, really well. And it was so funny. I mean, it's forest land, and then like a mile that way there's houses. So it wasn't like I was out in the middle of nowhere. But it was fine. It was fine. So again, I didn't get as much chance to get out into nature and just be. But there was lots of chance to do that while I was driving, like putting on 8 hours a day of driving, and you get to just be. So not quite the same or what I would have predicted, but you still, if you're a nomad, if you're a full-time nomad, that's going to be a thing to deal with. And it's part joy, part tribulation of wherever you go, there you are, and here's your stuff. What are you going to do with it when it comes up?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a very good one.
Yeah.
And besides, we are so up north that, we have to factor the long drives.
Yes.
Before we can get to any place where there is national forest lands or what is land management, the Bureau of Land Management, BLM lands.
National forest. State
Right.
Forest. Yeah.
So we, in this area, we don't have much
Not a lot.
of that.
Not like there is out there.
Well, yes, only if you go the other way towards Canada. So, but in this area and Iowa, Nebraska, I mean, that is the farm belt.
Yep.
And that is why it is not probably a destination for nomads.
No.
Because there is no national monuments, no national parks, nothing of interest except for farms.
Yes. Yes.
Just that.
Yes.
And so you may encounter some things, but it's not as interesting maybe.
No. Casinos.
Casinos.
Truck stops.
Lots of casinos. Yes, but the point about going south is to join that group of people that are already south there and living the life of a nomad.
Yeah.
And we are talking about huge extensions of territory.
Oh, thousands of acres.
Right, but when we finally are there, someday, I suppose we will be. I know I will be there in a month or so, but what about you? You're going to stay with your parents for now?
Right, in the Portland area. And my mom's health is definitely improving, but she's always going to need some help, and so will my dad. So my plan now is, okay, it seems like a good stabilized situation. I can get away for 2, 3, 4 days and be in contact and able to come back if necessary, and just kind of do that. And if possible, get down to Arizona and Nevada.
Right.
Yeah.
And how far away about you are from
from down there. It took me 4 days to get from Santa Fe to Portland. So 3 days to, where did I stop on the first night? Kingman, I think, Arizona. Is that right? Something like that. So 3 days, which is very doable. And even just to be there for day 2, 3, 4, and then if I have to go back, okay, but there are people there all winter.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, there's only this little window and I missed it.
Yeah. And I was very pleased to see that you had your baptism of fire cleaning your campsite.
Oh, yeah.
Like a very responsible person.
Thank you. Well, actually, it wasn't my immediate campsite. There was a makeshift shooting range
Oh, yeah.
off of the road, which I remember seeing somewhere in one of the apps saying this had not been part of the park service until recently, maybe. So maybe all of this trash came after that, or that there are holes in the sign for the road,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So the road getting still a park service road, that's where all that trash came from. And some of it looked really old and some of it looked really recent. So I don't think anybody had been through there for a while. The campsite itself was very clean,
Nice.
which I was impressed with. Like, go humans.
Nice. That's very
Yeah.
good.
But it feels good to clean up. I don't mind it right now. I guess if I did it all the time, I might start to bug me, but I don't mind it.
So how many days did you actually boondock?
I think it was 3 full days and a half.
Did you at any point feel like I should be doing something? I should be doing something useful for my life.
Maybe if I'd been there longer, I might have, because I was busy all the time trying out my scrubba, doing my laundry. That took several hours, which was great, and it worked out great. And walking on the Park Service Road and doing the cleanup. What else was I doing? I don't remember.
But the reason why I asked you that is because I did feel at some point when alone, in my case it was up in the mountains in Colorado, I did feel like I'm not doing anything productive.
Oh, yeah. I think that kind of decompression takes a long time. I remember I'm very interested in the unschooling concept, and for kids who go from a difficult schooling situation to being at home, they have a lot of decompressing to do from whatever it was that they experienced in school. So you just have to allow yourself some time to not buy into all that pressure to be productive every single second of your life.
Which is, by the way, what we are after.
Exactly.
I mean, leaving behind the hamster wheel and being on the to work, to the supermarket, to whatever we have to do. I mean, that routine that makes us feel we are doing something productive
Right.
for society.
Right.
And I am not very sure about that.
I know. I was going to say, I would argue that what we're doing is being productive for society to feed more relaxed energy out there into the universe and let that ripple out to people instead of the constant, I think
Right.
we're making a contribution in that way.
I like to think that. But at least we are taking care of ourselves. That
Yes.
is my feel about this.
Yes.
Like, I can choose to either be just going to work, coming back home, going to work, coming back home, and living under a lot of stress, And then eventually, I don't know, needing more medical treatments or
Oh my
anything
God.
like that, just out of that exhaustion
Yes,
of
and it's
living in
real.
society.
Yeah.
And
And it's not mandatory.
no,
It's not. I will say that after like the third or fourth day, I've had this hip flexor
uh-huh.
thing going on and I've been doing PT exercises. It didn't completely go away, but it was like noticeably less and
Really?
more comfortable. And I could drive and sit for more hours than I ever thought was possible
Huh.
because I wasn't stressed out about working.
Exactly. And we are not saying that being a nomad is an alternative to medicine. That
No,
is
no,
not the
no.
point. The point is the effect on our organism
Yes.
out of not being stressed out all the time. I know in my case, stress was super high, and now I am happy. So even if I am bored, even if
Yes.
I don't have anything to do, I can invent things to do with my boredom, and myself feels good about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone was asking me, because I don't know if you watched that video where I show my van,
Yeah.
and I excuse myself for not being able to breathe properly while speaking because of my asthma. And
Yeah.
someone was asking me how being a nomad has impacted my asthma.
Oh, good question.
I know. Because one thing you can notice when it rains, that we have all smelled that sweet smell of
Yeah.
rain.
Yeah.
After the rain, it smells good. Actually, it's horrible for people with asthma
Oh.
because that smell is all the bacteria and
Everything
fungi and everything
stirred up.
right, floating in the air after the rain. So I was very aware of that, and the altitude up in the mountains in Colorado. I was at least at 6 or 7,000 feet all
That's
the
pretty
time,
high.
which reduces your
Yes.
oxygen intake.
Yeah. And that affects people a lot.
Right.
They're not anticipating it.
And yeah, maybe I was a teeny little more breathless than what I am in the city, but just a teeny
Yeah.
little bit. So if you ask me about that trade-off between living in the city with a lot of stress or living up in the mountains with a little less oxygen in the air and a little bit more contact with allergens, I'd rather take the other.
100% of the time.
Yes, yes. You can take care of yourself, you can relax, you can.
Yeah. You have the opportunity to slow down and
Yeah.
take care of yourself. And that's what you should do. And that's another part of the decompressing is to put yourself first, which we're conditioned to think is selfish.
Yeah.
But unless you take care of yourself, you don't have anything to contribute. So
Correct. And what about the nights? Because you were alone there.
yeah.
Did you feel safe?
I did. You know, I every night I would have the, oh, I'm sleeping in my car. Okay, I'm good. And I surprised myself every single night. I slept the best I've slept any time in my life that I can think of. And many nights outside of the Santa Fe, I was in truck stops. And I felt part of a community because there were other people out there doing the same thing. And I was always respectful and asked if they allowed it. And I think there was only one place I went to that said, no. Okay, bye. But once I got into my little cocoon there,
That's
I
the word, the
just
cocoon.
fell
Yes.
asleep. Oh my God, it was amazing. And I slept until my alarm went off.
Nice.
Just wow.
And you did set the alarm.
Some days.
You see, I that was the first thing I stopped doing. Hey, you!
Oh my gosh!
I agree. I always sleep so well when I am in my little cocoon. This is a very good description.
And even if I take the very same bedding, cushions, everything, and bring it inside,
I don't know if it is something, I don't know, primal, being inside of a teeny little
Yeah.
place that is you.
yeah,
But it feels very good. And being out there in the forest, yes, as I always kid about, if bears learn how to use can openers, we are going to be in trouble.
because we're in a can.
Yeah,
basically.
but in the meantime, I don't know. Honest to God, I haven't had the experience of being in unsafe places. Many people
Either.
talk about having weapons with them or things like that. I never felt that need. I do agree with what I have heard from more experienced people. If the place where you are at doesn't feel good, drive away.
Yes.
Drive away.
Yes. And pay attention.
Right, exactly.
That's part of the decompression
Someone
process.
is having a more difficult day than we are.
Yeah, to relearn to trust your instincts instead of having to push them down to fit into whatever situation you're in society. So that's
That is such an interesting thing you say. Paying attention to your guts. And that is something we forget when we live in society. Everything is already presented to us in a certain way.
And we push that voice down and make it quiet.
Because we may live in a building with security, with whatever, but then out there, and that is a concept I really like, we are self-reliant.
Yep.
And so it makes total sense to listen to your guts.
Yeah.
To your gut. Not to your guts. My guts. To your gut. To feel the space where you are at. And it's beautiful. I mean, I bet you have seen beautiful sunrises or sunsets or something.
And just driving. I mean, I've done that trip before at other points in my life, but that drive through Idaho early-ish in the morning after quite a bit after sunrise, but gobsmacked by the intense green of the trees.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. And back to the small voice and feeling safe. There's also the component of some folks like to stay by themselves as nomads. That's cool. But others like to build community with others doing the same thing. But again, with paying attention to your gut, you have to learn also to have boundaries around the type of people you want to camp with, how much time you want to be interacting with people, if at all. Maybe you just want to be nearby and maybe hang out at the campfire or whatever, but be very clear about generators, about animals, about all kinds of things.
Or constant interaction, which I feel probably I would resent after a while.
And there's no need.
Right. I met a beautiful lady in Rapid City on my way south.
Okay.
I first went west and then south.
Okay.
So I was in Rapid City, and the only place there was a Cabela's. So I parked there for a couple of nights, and there was this lady there, and she was sweet as anyone can be. But on the third morning, she was bringing me coffee from the gas station.
Geez.
And little flowers she would pick up from the side of the road, which I found fascinating, but it felt a little bit...
Like strings are starting to be forming.
Yes. And I think I was feeding her need for not being alone when I have a very healthy relationship with my loneliness. Solitude. Not loneliness,
Yeah,
but solitude. Learning to be alone is such a good thing
yeah.
because you may enjoy the company of other people.
But you have to
but-
recharge somehow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, what about anxiety? Did you feel anxious at any point during
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Really?
Day 3 had technical issues with my vehicle, which I
Okay.
had somebody, well, I reached out to you and you helped me talk myself off of the ledge and reach out for help from the gentleman who built my vehicle and said, oh, we'll try this, which I did. And I happened to be in the corner of a Flying J parking lot
Nice.
under a tree, so there was shade. Took out all the stuff under my car so I could get to my 12-volt battery in the back. Unplugged it, plugged it back in business.
Excellent.
Bye. Thank you. And then I think the first or second night, I was in Santa Fe up in the mountains. Locked my keys in the car.
I forgot about that one. You told me.
Yeah, and I carry everything in this.
Yeah.
And I'm very good about keeping it on my person, but that
Not that
night
day.
I wasn't. And I've heard stories about towing companies that won't come to places that they're off pavement.
Oh.
So luckily I'd left my phone in my tent, so it wasn't in my car. So I could actually call for roadside assistance. And Tammy, bless her heart, she's like, no, we got you. No problem. We're going to come out and help you. And luckily I'd remembered the names of the roads of where I was, and I was expecting it to take a couple hours for the truck to come, but it got dispatched immediately.
Nice.
And I had my camping light on blinking so I could show them where I was. And by 9:30, it was fine.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you see, that is something I thought of. I still have to do it. Getting one of those magnetic
Yes.
boxes
Yes.
to put somewhere under the car.
Yep.
With a spare key.
Yep. And I could do that, but mine is a fob and it doesn't fit in those standard boxes. So I have to find something else.
One that is slightly bigger.
Well, it has to be at least
Thicker.
like that thick. Yeah. Because I bought one of those and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yes. So the road has those things.
Yes. It's part of the deal.
You enjoy and you
And you
and
deal.
you freak out. And but again, everything goes back to the concept of being self-reliant. And I think you can get to be proud of yourself.
Oh my gosh. Yes. That you can handle whatever comes up.
Right.
Because you do. Like, look at the rest of your life. Was there anything that just your existence stopped? No. You kept
Right.
going. You might not have liked how it turned out, but things worked out whichever way they were going to work out.
Well, you have to be more resourceful.
You do.
Like when you are in the city.
And be willing to ask for help. That's a big thing for some people. In addition to listening to your gut and having boundaries, being willing to ask for help and not seeming like you're weak or you don't know what to do, or no. Humans help each other.
Right. And so in that sense, knowing that many people are about to start their trip as nomads, or their trip or their life
Yeah.
as nomads, my first advice would be, don't think this is Instagram life and you hit the road and the universe opens up and everything is amazingly gorgeous, because it is not.
No, it's not.
it is maybe a tougher life
Yep.
than what we are used to.
Mm-hmm.
I had to come back to Minneapolis to finish some papers,
Mm-hmm.
and I am dying to go back. So it is tougher. It is more complicated. It requires more intentionality on
Yes.
everything you do.
Yes.
There is no comfortable things, no running water, no electricity. Everything you have to get it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like almost like going back to gathering.
Yeah, hunter-gatherers. Going
Right,
back to our roots.
right. So what about cooking?
Oh, when I was in Santa Fe, it was still quite hot. And to get ready for this lifestyle, I did a lot of research on freeze-dried food and also dehydrated, which I discovered I don't like dehydrated. So I had a month's worth of freeze-dried vegetables with me. And then I buy these packets of parboiled brown rice and peanuts and curry powder and other stuff. So I didn't really cook at all, really.
Well, those packages of rice are amazing.
They are.
And there are packages of ready pasta.
Yep.
So
There's
I would
packages
mix
of a lot of stuff.
I would mix those with tuna.
Yeah.
Or with, you know what? I discovered these, and they come in little small packets, curry sauce.
Yes.
Those simmering.
Yes.
So you mix that with the pasta. Hey,
Yeah.
it's
You're
amazing.
Done. You're done.
And it takes about a minute to cook that.
Yeah.
To cook
In
that.
the beginning of this, a couple years ago, when I decided I was going to do this, I thought, oh, I'm going to cook. I quickly got disabused of that notion because, one, all the stuff you have to clean.
Right.
And then I watched some videos where people said, yeah, I used to cook, but no, I don't do it anymore. So it kind of gave me permission to wrap my head around that possibility. And that's not to say if I do get somewhere, when I do get somewhere where I'm going to be for a longer
Several
period
days.
of time,
Right.
then I can see doing
Well,
it.
I do have a board, a wooden board. One of the sides I use that as a chopping board,
Okay.
and I can do things there, and then I just sprinkle that with vinegar
Yep.
and a little bit of paper, and I know it's clean
Yes.
and disinfected, so I don't need water.
Yes.
I don't
me
need
too.
running water.
I've got a spray bottle
Yep.
of vodka. That's what I use.
Vodka? Whoa.
I know.
I didn't think of that one.
I know. I tried the vinegar thing for a while, and then I heard about that idea. I'm like, oh, I like that a lot better. So,
I think I am going to try it because the smell of vinegar is kind of annoying.
yes, that's why I switched.
So it's nice. It kills bacteria. You know it's perfect. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's a bad influence. So you didn't hear that. You're going to continue with the vinegar. You have an open bottle of alcohol with you in the car.
Well, there's that. At home practicing, I got a larger bottle, but on the road, I pared down to a smaller bottle.
Yeah.
So, and it's tucked away in the back, and I guess I might have to deal with that if I ever get pulled over. But I don't drink it. I don't drink, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is amazing. And now, what is going to be your way back?
Well, the quickest way will be to go back across North Dakota, Montana, Idaho, Washington State, and then down to Portland like the way I came. So if the weather cooperates, I could do it in 4 days again, like I did coming out here. And I did check today for the 30-day forecast, and it looks pretty good for the next few weeks. Today.
Yeah. But you're here.
But I mean, even the temperatures, when I checked a week ago, they were kind of dipping below freezing, but today they weren't for the next, 3 or 4 weeks.
Perfect.
So
And do you have any idea when you're going to start driving again?
Well, my car. So
You
I
have
put
to
on.
fix a little thing.
Yeah, I put on 5,000 miles. I had those few little incidents that were easily resolved. And then last week I was backing into my driveway like I usually do, and white smoke under the hood, and the car just died in the driveway. So I thought, oh my God, I killed my car.
Well, 5,000 miles, hey.
Hey, it was good for something. But apparently it might not be that big a deal. It might be the inverter pump needs to be replaced, and it blew a fuse. So that's what the car shut down like it's supposed to. So
And that is the nice thing about what nice. You are getting to know how your car works.
yeah,
And you will become more and more proficient on
Yes.
how to tackle these little problems here and
Yes.
there. I think that is essential for anyone
Yeah.
attempting this
Yeah.
kind of adventure.
yeah,
Knowing, being on top of your vehicle, because it is your house.
it is. And unless you
And-
want to spend thousands more dollars. And I'm curious enough to want to know. Like I was looking up on YouTube and Google what someone would need to do to unplug that inverter pump and then replace the fuse so it would be easier to deal with to get it towed. And I'm like, oh man, if I had somebody here who could walk me out of the weeds, because I know for sure it looks super easy on the video, but what about this? What about this? And then I'd be stuck. And so out in the desert, there are people who are very happy to help you
Nice.
with mechanics in communities, because
Nice.
that's what they know how, and that's how they contribute.
Well, I
So-
learned how to change my windshield wipers.
Very good.
I'm
Very
learning.
good.
And it's amazing how many things we can do for
Oh,
our
yeah,
vehicles.
yeah.
And it's part of the fun.
It is. And that
learning.
feeling masterful and confident.
Yeah,
Yeah, totally.
absolutely. And so, yes, and I am going to be leaving Minneapolis on the 1st of November. And I'm going on a short trip. And then when I come back, about the 15th of November,
Okay. Then you take
I
off.
am heading south. I don't know where, because you know me. It's many roads, no rules.
No rules.
So I don't know.
And
where.
I learned this. I mean, I kind of knew it before I left, that you can make as many plans as you want to, and it'll change in an hour. So flexibility is key, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Right, exactly. My only concern is when I come back mid-November, Minneapolis is going to be so cold.
Yeah.
So yes, probably I will
But
get,
at least
get on the car and drive south quickly,
as long as possible.
as long as possible.
At least it won't be January.
No,
Or February.
well, yes, that's true.
Yeah.
But so hopefully it's going to be
Yes.
an easy and fast ride, and then we will meet somewhere.
Yes.
Maybe for this time around, maybe you are going to consider going to the RTR.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Yes.
It is in
America.
it is in my plans.
Awesome.
So excellent. Anything else we need to say?
Oh gosh.
Do you recommend the nomad life
Oh yeah.
to people who think
Right. 'Cause
that
it's
want
not
to do this?
Yeah, it's not for everybody, and definitely give yourself the opportunity to try it out. Little 2-3 days here at a time to test your mettle and see how flexible you are. And if it's not for you, that's great. You know, you tried it and you discovered something about yourself, so you'll do something different. But for me, yeah, definitely.
And what about getting rid of your possessions?
Oh my.
Because
So-
that is a question I have all the time.
Yeah.
Or people saying, well, I am in the process of getting rid of my things. And the way I see it is, of course, I mean, you have to try to sell as much as you
Right.
can,
Right.
because having that little extra money
Yep.
as your safety net,
Yep.
that is crucial. But then giving things, your favorite things, to your friends, so you can always get them back if you decide to go back to that life.
Yeah.
But that kind of thing, how was it for you? I mean, getting rid of your things.
Well, I've been a minimalist my entire life, and I've never really been attached to things, so it was easier for me than I know that it has been for other people. And but when I got to the piles of photographs and the mementos and stuff, there was a little resistance there, but once I got into it, then it was much better. So
I do have photos. I have a couple
Yeah.
of boxes with photos.
Yeah,
That part is,
photo mine.
yeah.
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 But start as soon as you can,
Yeah.
if you know that that's what you want to do. And it is a process, and just give yourself compassion and patience, because it's a lot of work depending on how much stuff you have.
I like to think of, okay, if you really want the nomad life, then it's easier to let go some things
Yes.
that are just stuffing your
Yeah.
closet.
Yeah. And once you start and you get the taste of the freedom from all that stuff,
It feels good.
oh, it feels great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. It is difficult to start. I agree.
It is. And I'm at the point now, luckily I've been paring down for the last couple of years, so when I did come back, it hasn't been like an entire household that I had to deal with. So I've got a couple more loads of donations to make, and then just trash that nobody's going to want. And that's it. I'm
And
done.
that is the other thing. We put a lot of value on many things we have, and it doesn't really exist.
No.
That value is not really there.
Not for other people, no.
For it's just things,
Or even for us. Yeah.
Right, it's just things that are
Just stop.
grounding us, stopping us from getting someplace.
Yeah, and it represents something, an emotional quality. So
Right.
take a picture of it if you feel like
That's
it's
a good
important.
idea.
Yeah, and then let it go.
Yeah, do a show and tell with the neighbors. My blue thingy that I got somewhere, and someone is going to say, "Oh, I love it."
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Yeah, or even put stuff out on, like I put IKEA tables out on the lawn and they're gone.
Yeah.
So,
But it's a good process.
It is.
It's a very good process.
for some
Well,
people, it would be really difficult, and that would preclude them from being a nomad to get rid of their stuff. But again,
and again, nobody has to be a nomad, but I have been doing a little bit of research. What would you estimate the percentage of humans that have been nomads in the history of humanity
oh,
so far?
ooh, that's a good question.
You can count immigrants, people who just moved from one town to another following a job or something.
Yeah. Oh,
98% of humanity
that high.
I know, has been at some point nomads, because due to climate, due to something,
Some aspect.
they have to move.
Yeah.
Of course, probably the way they count that
Yeah.
is over the centuries,
Yeah.
and people following the trade roads and things like that. And I mean, people who are attached to their lands and they have to move with the cattle and those kind of things.
Yeah.
But I was so surprised when I read 98% of people are nomadic in the history of humanity. So I think it's normal.
Yeah.
I think
It's
it is
more normal.
More
to
normal
move.
than what we may think.
Yes.
It's just,
Yes. Then we've been conditioned to believe.
yeah. There is this author, Abby, who talks about the problems with society. And one of the points he mentions is the bad publicity we are subject to every day, the
Oh,
commercials,
God. Oh,
all those
God.
things that tell you
Don't get me started.
you're going to be happy if you have this. And
No, you're
that
not.
concept of having,
Yeah.
it has turned into, hey, I'm going to be happy.
And you never are.
And
You
that
always
is
need something
right.
else.
And I think that thing about becoming self-reliant, becoming more, what you said is not selfishness, but it's taking care of you first.
Yes.
And when you find your value,
Oh.
then all those things are just objects.
Yes, because that's what the black hole you're trying to fill with the stuff
Yeah,
is your value. And once that gets filled in and solidified, then you're good.
exactly. And you don't need to buy anything else.
No. No.
Therefore, you don't need that much money, hopefully.
Not
Well,
really.
we have to have money for an ice cream every now and then.
Of course.
You know, that kind of thing. So you went to a town.
So I'd get to a town and now what do I do?
Did you know where you were?
Well, I knew I was, but this is the very beginning of my trip. And usually before I'd be on camping trips. So get to the campsite, stay at the campsite, and then come home. So this is a little different. So I got good at Googling parks, city parks or parks near me, and deciphering, is it going to be open? Is there going to be a little bit of a hiking trail that will help me get some exercise after driving all day? How far is it from Walmart? How far is it from wherever it is that I'm looking for in terms of, BLM land or whatever? So city parks were a mainstay of my strategy.
Oh yeah,
In
it's
addition,
great because it helps you understand the space around you.
yes, exactly,
Right.
the personality of the city that
Yep.
you're in, and also if I needed to pull out my solar panel and plug in my Jackery, spend a couple hours, and then decompress a little bit, and then whatever strategizing I needed to do from there. But yeah, city parks definitely, in addition to the truck stops that I used
Yeah.
at night.
But you were in this park.
Which, say that again?
You were in this park. You were going to tell us the story.
Oh, not a
No.
particular park, but I wanted to expound on having that in the back of your mind. So okay, you have a destination. What are you going to do when you get there? Because
good
you're not
point.
going to a hotel. You're not going to dinner necessarily. You're in your house, and you got to have a place to pull up to.
And that is exactly the same feeling I got, because every day of our lives we go to work or to school or wherever,
Buildings.
and then we come back home. So we go from point A to point B, and we have a destination. And now
Yeah.
our house is with us.
Yeah.
That is our home, and home is wherever we park it.
Mm-hmm.
So the feeling of I don't have anywhere to go at the end of the day,
Yes.
that is a little unnerving.
It
at
is.
first.
In the beginning, yeah.
In the beginning,
Yeah.
until you start getting into the habit of I am fine.
And then you notice, oh, there's other people doing the same thing I'm doing at this park. And you're like, oh.
Yeah. I forgot to tell you another place that is great to overnight is, for example, a Planet Fitness that is
Right.
open 24 hours because there are always cars parked there,
Exactly. Yeah.
and nobody bothers you there because you may be inside exercising. Those are very noisy places actually because people come and go all the
okay.
time. I stayed at one, and but it's once you get in the groove of
Yes.
I am fine.
Yeah.
This is a perfect space to stay for the night, tonight.
Yep.
That little bit of anxiety, that is again something that is wired in us.
Yeah, and that's,
Years
survival.
and years.
Yeah.
Years of doing it the normal way.
Yeah.
You go to the park, you come back home.
Exactly.
And
And I was thinking about this, like in the nomad community, what percentage of people kind of gravitate to the truck stop thing, or what percentage of people gravitate towards the Planet Fitness thing? Because they're very different environments. I mean, they're both kind of noisy, but I was worried about the noise at the truck stops, and I still slept. I don't know what was going on, so it was fine.
because you felt safe.
Yeah,
That
I
is
did,
what it
yeah.
is. Yeah.
But in terms of even like, being woken up because some huge semi is starting or somebody's yelling at somebody else, I don't remember that happening. I'm sure it did, but it didn't wake me up. Or what percentage of the nomad community prefers to be stealth parking somewhere in the suburbs or whatever? Or what percentage prefers to be boondocking out in nature and don't make me go to the city? I think it'd be interesting to kind of plot that out, just because that's how my brain
Personally, I prefer to be up inside of a forest or someplace like that, or a place that is definitely for overnighters, like Walmart or
Yeah.
Cabela's or some, because we all speak the same code.
Yes,
and,
exactly.
And besides, I mean, it's the convenience of, if you're at Walmart, you can walk into the supermarket and use the bathrooms and
Yep.
everything. I met a lady in the ladies' room who was overnighting, of course, and she came to the bathroom to brush her teeth there, and she ended up giving me some maps and things because she already went to those places.
Okay.
And she said, well, maybe you want to go to these places I've been to. So the community is fantastic.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
that sense of we are all doing the same thing. And I think
We get each other.
yes,
No explaining necessary.
nothing.
Yeah.
I don't need to know your name. I don't need to know where you come from, what you do. Did you see this thing? Oh no, I haven't. Oh, you have to go here. I was in the middle of Wyoming, in a teeny little town. I don't remember. I think it was Sheridan, but I am not sure.
Okay.
And they have the second best planetarium in the United States.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
But nobody knows about this.
Yeah.
Because it is, I think, in the high school,
Oh.
and it was closed because of COVID. So nobody was.
Oh, you couldn't go in at all?
No. But it is something like the second best one in the United States.
Wow.
In the middle of nowhere.
I love that.
So yeah, there's a lot of places that you don't know that are there,
Yeah.
and other nomads know, and they can tell you.
Yes.
So it's such a good community in
Yes.
that sense.
Sharing all those
Yep.
possibilities. Yeah. So
And
generous.
all these tips and useless pieces of information.
No.
No.
Useful for somebody at whatever stage in the process they're
Right?
at. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
If we can do it,
Oh yeah.
anybody can.
Anybody can. Any
Yeah.
kind of vehicle, any
Yeah.
kind of situation, start with what you have. That's probably even better.
You don't need anything fancy,
No.
anything Instagrammable.
You do not.
You don't need that. You just need the will.
Yes.
Just that.
Yes, and the curiosity and
Yeah.
that life spark.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Deb, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
We have to get together again and do
Yeah.
another catch up, part 3. Someplace else. That
Yeah.
is- where it is
Thousands of miles away from here.
thousands of miles away, somewhere where now it is hot.
Yeah.
Well, we are here kind of freezing.
Yeah. Yep.
But yes, we are going to do that again.
Indeed. And see you too.
There you go. See you.